In 1975, a broke actor sat outside a liquor store in New York City, holding his dog, the only thing he had left in the world. He had $106 in his bank account. His wife was pregnant, and he was about to do something that would make everyone around him think he had lost his mind. Sylvester Stallone was not supposed to make it. Born in 1946 in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan, his entry into the world was already a fight. Forceps during delivery damaged the nerves in his face, leaving him with a partially paralyzed lip and slurred speech that would follow him his entire life. The doctors called it a defect. Hollywood would later call it his trademark. His childhood was chaotic. His parents fought constantly. They divorced when he was 11. He was bounced between schools, expelled from 15 of them. The one thing that stayed with him, no matter where he ended up, was a hunger. Not ambition yet, just raw, formless hunger. By his mid-20s, Stallone had moved to New York to become an actor. Casting directors told him his face was wrong, his voice was wrong, his look was wrong. He took every rejection and filed it somewhere deep. To survive, he cleaned lion cages at the Central Park Zoo. He worked as a cinema usher. He took parts in films he'd rather forget. The winter of 1975 hit him like a wall. Evicted from their apartment, he and his wife had nowhere to go. He stood outside in the cold, looking at his dog, a rescue named Butkus. He couldn't afford to feed him anymore. He sold Butkus to a stranger outside that store for $50. He walked away without looking back. Because if he looked back, he wouldn't have been able to do it. Then one night in March 1975, Stallone watched a boxing match. Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter in the world, was being pushed to his limit by a complete unknown. The underdog wasn't supposed to last 3 rounds. He lasted 15. Something cracked open inside Stallone watching that fight. He went home and didn't sleep. In 3.5 days, he wrote Rocky. The story poured out of him, not because he invented it, but because he lived it. Rocky Balboa wasn't a character, he was a mirror, a man from nowhere, with nothing, who gets one shot and refuses to waste it. When he finished the script, he knew it was the best thing he'd ever written. He also knew he had $106 left. He took the script to every studio in Hollywood. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Then United Artists read it. They loved it. They offered him $25,000 for the script. There was one condition: he could not star in it. They wanted a real star. Stallone said no. They came back with more money, $100,000. He said no, rejecting the offer. They went higher, $175,000, then $250,000. Eventually, the offer reached $360,000. $360,000. For a man with $106 in his bank account and a pregnant wife at home, he looked at the offer and said no. Everyone around him thought he had destroyed his life. His agents, his friends, his own family. One person in that room understood. Only him understood. United Artists finally agreed. Stallone would star. Budget, $1 million. It was one of the smallest budgets in Hollywood. They filmed Rocky in 28 days. The iconic training sequence on the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, filmed in one morning with no crowd control. Just the man running up those steps alone. The entire production was scrappy, hungry, and desperate. Exactly like the man who wrote it. Rocky opened in November 1976. It made $225 million at the box office. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and won 3, including Best Picture. Stallone became only the second person in history, after Charlie Chaplin, to receive Oscar nominations for both writing and acting in the same film. And Butkus, the dog he sold for $50, he tracked down the men he sold him to. He paid $15,000 to get him back. Here is what Stallone understood that almost no one else did in that room. The money wasn't the point. The story was the point, and the story only works if he's in it. Because Rocky isn't a boxing movie, it's a movie about a man who refuses to be defined by what the world says he's worth, and the only person who could tell that story with any truth was the man living it. Everyone who called it career suicide was measuring the wrong thing. They were counting dollars. He was counting on himself. The next time the world puts a number on what you're worth and tells you to take it, remember the man who had $106, a pregnant wife, and no dog, and said no, and left anyway. Because he knew something they didn't. He knew exactly what he was worth. If this story moved you, subscribe. More stories like this every week on Echoes of Greatness.